So I will be fluent in Spanish in 2023, okay? I'm putting it out there. I've never put it on the internet. I've always talked about it here and there, but I'm going to be fluent in this language this year. Quit playing with me. Hola, Buenos. Me llamo daljiimarax if you are new here. So on this channel, we do solo travel, but we also learn languages. And as you can see, for 2023, baby, we're going to be fluent in Spanish. I have been trying to be fluent in Spanish for the past 6 years, and I am at a point in my life where I am no longer okay not being fluent in the language. It's not even about traveling internationally. I live in the United States. Spanish is the second most spoken language in this country. So it's like, duh, I need to learn how to speak this language. Anyway, I have created an entire, basically, game plan for the year of 2023 on how I'm going to learn Spanish using Clickup, notebooks, my iPad, all that good stuff, but mostly Clickup to keep me together. So first things first, I think the best way to go about trying to learn a language is to ask yourself, what the hell do you want to learn? Like, everybody's like, oh, I want to be fluent, I want to learn how to speak, say everything. I don't even know how to say everything in English. So what makes you think I'm gonna know how to do it in another language? That's not how that works. So I wrote down a list on my notebook. I got a fresh new notebook just for Spanish, and I have a 6-month goal. So what I decided to do was, as far as figuring out what I want to learn how to say, break it up in doses, into quarters, months, in weeks. So I decided not to have like a year plan of everything I want to do. I want to start with 6 months. I feel like that's less intimidating than to have like by the end of the year I need to learn how to say all this stuff. I think as the year goes on and I progress and I'm disciplined, then I'll add to the list. So I started with 6 months. So even though I plan to be fluent by the end of the year, I'm going to focus on the first 6 months of the year. That's what's important. Okay? So I wrote a list of the different categories and the conversations that I would like to be able to talk about for the first 6 months of the year. So by the end of June, I want to be able to talk about time. So the time, what time it is, the days of the week, and explaining timing. So like, I did this last week. I'm going to an appointment next week. I do this every day. Like things of that nature that, you know, are mentioning the concept of time, basically. Describe myself, emotions, characteristics, physical looks, things of that nature. Vocabulary. I want to be able to name every single thing in my apartment. My computer, my desk, my forks, my laundry basket, my floor, my TV, like everything in my house, I want to be able to talk about it. Travel. So I travel a lot, so I need to be able to ask for directions and this, that, and the third, and where's this at, and how do I get there? Food and clothing, same vocab there. Talk about the description and the things that I do professionally. So my career, I would love to talk about my career in Spanish. I would love to cuss in Spanish. I think that's like something that people don't think about when they talk about learning languages. It's like the fun stuff. I want to learn how to flirt. I want to learn how to cuss. Like, I want all that good stuff too. And then I'm going to plan on journaling. So basically talk about my day and put as many Spanish words as I can if possible. It may look grammatically terrible, but it's a start. Talk about my family, talk about myself more, read books, listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, talk about money, numbers, all that, blah, blah, blah. That was step number 1. What do you want to talk about in 6 months? And I feel like if I can accomplish all of this in 6 months, that's a lot. That's a lot to be able to, that's a lot of, I can hold a lot of conversations with these basic things. Next, I plan on purchasing a couple of textbooks and things throughout the year. So I bought my first textbook, which is Spanish vocabulary. This is like the beginning. Even though I wouldn't say I'm beginner at Spanish, I still am very much in the basic vocabulary space. So I feel like let's start from the beginning. Like, let's just get it all together. This is about 300 pages, probably less, because the back of it is like the table of contents, answers, keys, and things of that nature. But I think I've always like been scared or felt like it was not going to be helpful to do like textbooks, because it's like that's how you learn languages in school, and learning languages in school is not very helpful, as we all know. But you need those basic like principles and rules when it comes to learning a language, so get one. So I got this one. I'll link it in the description box below. I've done about 20 pages so far, and it's been very helpful. And the thing I like about this textbook is it has like the sentences and examples that he uses. I feel like I would have these conversations in real life, versus the textbook you know, sentences and things and grammar that were taught in school. It's like you were never going to have those conversations. You were never going to talk like that. This one, I feel like they use realistic conversation. So that's what I really liked about this textbook. And then I also just got a cute little phrase book to practice like phrases and things of that nature. This will be helpful if I'm just like, you know, around Latin America or Spain or something like that, and may need to say a quick little phrase, and it has some vocab and a couple little work, you know, routines and things in here. So I thought this was helpful. So my goal is to have 2 more of these books. So finish 3 textbooks by the end of the year, and possibly get a couple more like little helpful books. So right now I'm in the beginner, I'm going to get intermediate and then advanced by the end of the year. And then I'm going to try to read at least 3 books in Spanish. Whatever genre, I'm going to try to mix it between like non-fiction, fiction, or something like that. Like 3 books that's really going to like grasp me in Spanish. That's my goal. So textbooks and reading, that's on the list. Next, I plan on going to at 1 to 2 Spanish immersion programs, specifically in Central America. They're super close to Atlanta. There's been a couple of them that I've seen that I would like to go to, one in Costa Rica and one in Guatemala specifically. So if I can do that at the second half of the year, after I have spent the first 6 months actually putting an effort into it, that's what I want to do. Next, I plan on, in the middle of February, getting a actual tutor to do one-on-one. So I have joined tutoring classes with like group classes, and that's not really helpful to me because nobody in there, everybody's on the same page, so we're all kind of making mistakes and things of that nature. And I guess you can learn from other people, but like, because I've lacked so much discipline, I need somebody one-on-one. And anytime in the past when I've tried to learn with a tutor or something, like that would be the only time I would learn the language. I would practice the language like in the class for that hour, and then I would never open a book or read my notes, be in there taking all type of notes and never go back to them. So my goal is to have a tutor one-on-one starting in February. And the reason I'm not starting ASAP is because I would like to come to the class with something and show that I am actually going to be disciplined. Like prove it to myself. Like if I can do a little bit of Spanish immersion every single day, like and be disciplined and serious about this, then I'll take the time to hire somebody and pay my money to keep me on top of it and to keep, you know, help just improve my speaking and listening skills. So I want to wait to get a tutor. I'm going to see what I am able to accomplish in this 6 weeks of the year before I hire someone, and then we'll go from there. Okay, for the first 2 weeks of the year, I started to write down what I wanted to do every year. So instead of filling up the entire month of January, breaking it up in bite-sized pieces, so every 2 weeks I'll schedule instead of the entire month, because it's keeping me on top of like what I'm actually accomplishing. It doesn't make sense for me to fill up an entire month of I'm gonna do all of this and can't be disciplined enough to do that. I've done that in the past where I'm like, okay, for the next 6 months I'm gonna do this. So breaking it up by weeks has helped me so much. So let me show you what I basically have going on. Alright, so I started off, like I said, with just 2 weeks, and I wrote down everything that I'm going to do every single day for the first 2 weeks of January. So the 2 categories that I'm focusing on for the month of January, the first 2 weeks specifically, are going to be timing. So like I said, this week, next week, 2 weeks, and 5 years, things of that nature, and as well as numbers. So how to say $1 million, how to say I have $37.69 in my bank account, how to say my credit card payment is $17. Like that's the type of conversations I'm wanting to be able to have right now at this point in my Spanish journey. So on Monday, tomorrow, I'm starting them tomorrow. Today's the 1st because I just have a lot going on today and I'm filming this video. So tomorrow is going to be flashcards. So I'm going to create flashcards on how to tell time. So, oh, I forgot to mention that. So I also want to learn how to tell time. Fuck me, guys. Alright, so on my Clickup, I create a Spanish fluency plan. So I just created a calendar for the month of January, and I just filled out the first 2 weeks. Because like I said, I'm focusing 2 weeks at a time, splitting it up in bite-sized pieces to see how disciplined I can actually be and how much I can actually get accomplished before I try to fill out this entire calendar. Hopefully in about 4 to 5 months, I'm comfortable enough and I'm disciplined enough and I'm serious enough that I can just fill out the whole month. But we taking it easy, okay? So for the first 2 weeks, the categories I'm focusing on is how to tell time in Spanish. So it's 10 o'clock. My last appointment is at 9:30 tomorrow on Tuesday. And then talking about numbers. So I have $37 in my bank account. My cell phone bill is $86. How much is this gallon of water? It's $3. Like things of that nature. Having conversations around money and numbers. As well as, is that all I'm doing? And then I said timing. So this week, last week, I got to do this tomorrow. I got this in 3 weeks. So just the concept of time, numbers is what I'm working on right now. So I basically am thinking about conversations that I already have in English and just going to try to translate that into a conversation in Spanish. So tomorrow, Monday, is the second is when I'm starting. So it'll be 30 days, my first 30-day journey instead of 31 days, which is fine with me. So I'm going to start with flashcards. So tomorrow we are starting how to tell time. So I'm going to write on flashcards like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then try to switch it up. 1:45, 6:19, 3:02. And then I'm going to also make flashcards that say like last week, tomorrow, every day, sometimes, every 2 weeks. So that's what is on my agenda tomorrow, is just those vocab words on timing. Next, on Tuesday, we are going to practice those a little bit more. And then I'm going to listen to a podcast that kind of has the same level of, and then I'm going to listen to a podcast that kind of has the same subject. So I'm going to try to find that today to listen to that. Wednesday is going to be my worksheet day. So from all of the vocab words that I learned in those flashcards, I'm going to try to put those in a sentence. So I'm planning on doing about 20 to 30 words on the flashcards for the timing category and try to put about 30 sentences together on Wednesday. So Monday and Tuesday, flashcards day. So after that, I'm going to move on to the next subject, which is going to be adding flashcards on money. So Monday, Tuesday, we're focusing on last week, this, that, and the third. And then Wednesday, we'll actually get into numbers, how much things cost, things of that nature. And then I'll watch a movie in Spanish or a TV show. I'm thinking of starting Narcos. I never watched Narcos before, but that is just going to be helping with my listening skills. So the rest of these are just like learning vocabulary words, learning how to put sentences together. And then Tuesday and Thursday are going to be listening, and then Friday we're going to go back and practice our flashcards on numbers and things of that nature, and then do another worksheet, 20 to 30 sentences with those new vocab words that I put on those flashcards. And then Sunday, we're just going to continue to review the flashcards and the worksheet. So that leaves me about 7 days to kind of get that kind of understanding and concept of time and things of that nature. So I am trying to get in about 10 hours minimum of Spanish in my week. So that's about an hour to an hour and a half every single day of some form of Spanish immersion. I'm sure there will be times, hopefully not right away, I'll have to rearrange some of these based on what I have going on in my life. But 10 weeks is what I'm trying to do. So for the first 2 weeks, this is what I have so far. Next week is basically the same thing, but I'm kind of like immersing different things. So then I'm going to start talking about things like pop culture and things about my personal life, personal habits, money. So for example, I have Mariah Carey has 19 #1 songs. Last week, according to the schedule, I should know how to say 19. I should know how to say #1. I should know how to say, I plan to save X amount for 2023. I should know how to say whatever that number is in my savings goal. I should be able to learn how to say, X, Y, and Z is, for this month, my bill is this amount. So, I'm just going to continue to do the same things for the next week, for the previous week in January, to kind of like get myself together. So I'm using this to like keep myself accountable, because like I said, anytime I try to buy a physical planner, I just end up never using it, so it's a waste of my time and money. So that is like what I have on my Clickup as of now. And to keep up with, you know, the progress when I actually go down to write the sentences and things of that nature, I'm just going to keep them in a notebook, a physical notebook, and not put them online, because I feel like if I'm writing it, I'm able to memorize it a bit more. I'm writing the words, I'm remembering to write the accents, and it's just a bit more personal when you write it down instead of typing everything like on a Google Doc or something like that. So in addition to that, once I'm done with those two, I'm going to go on the next chapter of whatever's in my textbook and start, you know, learning some things from that nature. So whatever is in the next chapter of my textbook will probably be what I add for the next 2 weeks for the month of January, and then try to immerse that in just regular conversation that I'm having, and making sure I'm staying on top of my 6-month plan. But my 6-month plan kind of matches what's happening each chapter in this textbook. So I did good. So I did really, really good. And then the phrases in this textbook are so helpful. So I think I'm going to do an update on my Spanish plan in 6 weeks, like right before I get my tutor. But I do have about 3 more Spanish immersion videos coming up on here. So I have some in my content planner back here. This is where I keep like all my YouTube videos done, planned out. So I have a couple more Spanish videos coming up, but I'm going to give you guys like a full update on where I am in Spanish in 6 weeks. But if you were like me and it was really hard for you to be disciplined in Spanish, I made a whole video on lazy ways to learn Spanish, baby. I'm telling you, this could be a little bit intimidating trying to learn it all in a year like me, but I've had enough. But if you got a little bit more time, go ahead and check this video out.